Welcome, everyone. This is Pilot Needles, and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in LOTRO and here at LOTRO Players. And this week we have with us Terry Adwin,
Hi,
Erendis. Oh, Werendis.
I was like, we have horrendous. Good evening, everyone.
And Kilabathian.
Hello.
Hello. And let us start out this rather confused week with our news, and that is that we had a bowler update 29 preview number 2, which was of course continuing the updates that they're testing for update 29 in here, which includes Wildwood and the couple of new instances, as well as the testing of the spring festival stuff. I don't know what significant changes there were for this. They did resolve an issue relating to Virtue XP awards since the last update in there, but I think it's pretty much the same stuff as last time as far as I know.
Oh, there was a change that I think caused some moaning and crying amongst the raiders. The changes to the Remercant barter.
Ooh, okay. Yes, the Remercant barter. You're right. There's some changes
Lord,
were made.
what did they do this time?
Some changes have been made to the barter for the Remercant class set gear at Remercant Quartermasters in Estolan. The armor exchange, allowing exchange of a piece of set gear for an equivalent piece of a different trait specialization, will no longer be deed gated, since you have already earned an equivalent piece of gear. Barter for class set gear hands and feet pieces will no longer be gated by any deed, removing the Tier 3 deed requirement. Barter for class set gear chest pieces will be reduced to Tier 1 gating, down from Tier 3 deed requirements. Barter to class set gear leg and shoulders will be reduced to Tier 2 gating, down from Tier 3. Essentially, they are taking several of the deed-gated class gear and reducing or eliminating the gating associated with it. And of course, the raiders, the hardcore raiders who were the first people to get this gear, of course, are probably moaning about that because they were hoping it was going to be unique gear that you had to do the raid at Tier 3 in order to have any chance of getting it.
Sorry if you hear any noises
Exactly.
there. It's that would be me taking my ibuprofen because I can feel the headache coming on.
Oh, you're just thinking of the raiders and they gave you a headache?
I'm not even at that stage yet, and yeah, I'm preparing.
I mean, I can understand their disappointment, but it's not in-game anymore, so they should be doing in-game appropriate rating to get the excellent gear that they want, right?
Well,
They were okay with.
Well, they don't care. I think they don't. Yes,
I'm sure
what
that's
I think
the
they're worried
argument.
about is they don't want other people to get it unless, of course, they do it at Tier 3. Because they had to do it at Tier 3, so they say everybody else should do it at Tier 3. Not that I'll ever do the raid at Tier 1, so it doesn't matter. I'm not going to see it.
Well, it's experience to do at least once. You like Elrond and Celeborn, and yeah, you like them even more after that raid. Story wise.
Well, considering what happened to our group last night at the Bloody Threshold, I'm not too sure I can survive Remercant. And that's pretty much it for the bowler notes. So let's head out to the beacon number 194, where the community spotlight Keeper Elos streams LOTRO with a group of friends who are making videos with a twist by playing character classes they aren't familiar with.
That sounds familiar.
Yes.
The February Oaks on Lorian focuses on love.
Boo.
Marriage. Sorry.
Yes. Now that was today, so if you could maybe click on the link to see if they have any plans to post it or anything like that. Zogog celebrates his 600th LOTRO video, and you can check out his channel over on YouTube. Now, here's our question for the week. How often do you change your cosmetic look in LOTRO?
All the time.
I had a feeling that would be Terry's
Like,
answer.
really frequently. Terry has different outfits for like each zone she goes to. And actually for the war stuff, she has a different outfit for the actual war landscape. So if she goes out on the war landscape, she's changing her outfit there. Sarissa, my burglar, is another one who has different outfits depending on which part of the map she's on. A couple of other characters I did that for. Like, I'd get to a new zone and it's like, okay, first thing we gotta do is new cosmetics. I mean, I had dedicated outfit for Mordor when Terry got to Mordor. It was great. Until it wasn't.
Every time I get a new horse, I have to have an outfit to match.
See, I don't have enough cosmetic slots to match all of my horses.
Well, not all of them, but you have a new horse, you want to ride around on it, show it off. I gotta have an outfit to match.
Well, see, I solved that problem by getting the account bound seeds, and then I figure out which character is going to ride it, and that character gets the outfit for it.
And then you have me who I'm like, change outfit? What? As long as it's not, the equipment gear, I think people will actually be okay. But it's if when I decide to, like, oh, hey, here's my equipment gear, then people are like, no, Terry especially, are like, no, we're not going to run with you. We're going to have to fix that.
I can't look at you. Yeah. I actually have told her I can't look at her character until she fixes it.
Mm-hmm.
You can look good while you are kicking tuchus.
That's right. There's a reason why I have a high elf champion named Well Dressed Killing Machine. That compliment was first bestowed on Terry Adwin.
Fair.
Yes. I would say maybe I change it around the times that major expansions are done, but I don't think I change it too often. I just I might rotate a couple of outfits, but that's just changing tabs on my cosmetic system and not really changing outfits. And let's then head to the fan site news, where LOTRO Stream is your first stop to find LOTRO on Twitch. This week, Michael DK2 continues. Sky Manic is welcomed to Dunland. Welcomed to Dunland? People are actually
Devoted.
welcomed there? Yes. And Big Ed Mustafa goes on an adventure. Also on Twitch, Geek Bite prepares for war. Whiskey Blues presents a French language stream, and keep smiling solos on a hunter.
I'm not gonna toot my own horn here, but I did try to actually do a Twitch stream for about an hour or so. Running I was gonna get Morkendeer just to test it out, and it was also the day of the Goblins of Stramvarth, so I decided to go all in and do that one little mission with him and, kind of do a little walkthrough on it, and came up with the idea of goblin gazebos. So yeah, I'm not gonna. Yeah, it was on Twitch, so I may do that again. It's actually kind of fun, but yeah, I only had like 2 people listening, and then 1 person left, and I was like, oh, so I lost half of my viewers. Anyway, if I'm just saying, if anybody hasn't tried to do that whole Twitch thing, give it a shot. It's amusing, even if you're the only person speaking and you're doing it just to amuse yourself, as I usually do.
Then over on YouTube, Random Topic Games looks at LOTRO in 2021. Louis 7 offers a class selection video, and the Nerd of the Rings interviews the Tolkien professor. And last week, we traveled by rainbow, apparently.
No, Nazguls fly over the rainbow. Does that mean we're Nazguls? Is that what you're saying? My feelings are hurt.
Well, I'm just reading what's in the beacon.
Look, I'm not the Nazgul, remember? I am, Durin's Bane. I'm not a Nazgul. It's a
You're
heat thing.
Balrog?
Yeah, remember? Because of the heat thing?
Okay.
This was a whole conversation we had on air that Calabathian was a Balrog.
All right.
Time has
How
stepped
soon
since
we
then.
forget.
Gamer Reverie serves up history and 11s, and Fibro Jedi has updated his Ill Omens guide, so you can read that guide on his blog. And on our screenshot of the week, someone sent us this screenshot of the old Fornost ruins for this week's screenshot of the week. You can send in your screenshot by emailing lotro@stayingstonegames.com.
Now, that's a shame it's not identified because that was an awesome screenshot.
Someone wanted to keep their identity secret. Maybe they were spying while they were there and they didn't want the enemy to know who they were.
Maybe.
That's always a possibility.
Sneaking around trying to avoid those rotten bears. And I mean that literally.
Let's head to our store sales. Terry, what's on sale this week?
Well, our weekly coupon this week is a 10% run speed boost times 5 with coupon code GETRUNNING, now through March 4th. And also through the 4th, we have select pets and kites, select housing items, and select mounts. All the pretty horses.
All the pretty horses. Then, anyone have a new player question? I'll take that as a no. So let's head into our weekend gaming. Calabathian, what were you up to?
Not too much, actually. Calavorn now has all of his legacies for his first age weapons. So now comes the hard part. I'm going to cry. No, it took me a while to get these legacies that I wanted because I kept on not getting bows, and finally I kept having to buy them off the the auction house. And then I would get get 2 or 3, start leveling them up, and I'd get last time they can get any kind of legacy on them when you reforge them is level 30, and by level 30 they weren't getting either of those last 2 that I needed, and finally they did. So yeah, I've got those last 2, and it's now comes the real grind. I also had a discussion about the maps on the game, the LOTRO maps, and kind of the Lone Lands and the North Downs, and where Dol Dinen was in relation to Ostgaruth and Agamar. Because if you look at the ones, if you there's one that actually has them in place, but if you look at the way that the game kind of flicks it, over and the whole thing there, some of the classic ones and everything, you realize it's like, there's this long straight line of mountains right above Agamar and everything. And then there's like a long straight line of mountains right beneath Dol Dinen. And it's like, are those the same ones? And we had a whole conversation about that. And of course, I had an ulterior motive for that because I wanted to know, like, first of all, if you had to send a message from, I don't know, Candice Camp, they're around Weathertop all the way up to, say, Esteldine or something, for no particular reason. How long would it take? What was the distance there? And so I was trying to look at the map, and we were kind of back and forth, and then Guire actually showed me this, this map where everything is actually kind of more where it's supposed to be, and I realized, oh hey, that's not where those two. That's not the same mountain range. It's just remarkably similar to each other. But we had a whole big conversation about geography amongst ourselves there. So yeah, I'm kind of wondering if we're going to get updated maps kind of anytime soon. But anyway, the whole thing was that Oscaruth and Agamar and Daldainen, not where the current maps seem to indicate they should be if you were looking at them. So you got to be careful about that. Also, in other game news, I explored along with the rest of everybody the new Barbarians update that they just put out for Civ 6. And I'm currently in that game being kind of plagued by the sand snakes, because now barbarians are named as different tribes. And, there's other stuff going on there. But I'm currently being plagued by sand snakes. So I'm, like, oh boy, is that a trademark infringement? I smell. Yeah.
I doubt that they trademarked that.
No, but it's like, there's, if that thing happens, I mean, can they actually like sue for it? Sue the game makers, or, I'm just kind of was curious about that, because I was like, oh, hey, sand snakes. I'm aware of how bad they can be because I have seen Game of Thrones. So yeah, I was kind of curious about that.
I think it's a word outside of Game of Thrones, so it's
maybe, I don't know. I mean, I think there actually are sand snakes, though. Like in real life, there's an actual kind of. Yeah, it's like, you can't copyright that. It's an animal. But but yeah, I just the way that it was being used, as a name for a group, I don't know. But anyway, Guarindas. Yeah, I have such trouble saying your name every single time. G. Big G. How was your week?
Geez, now I feel like I need to rap or something. I'm not that good. Gorindus and the captain went deeding in Urgarth, and it was very profitable. Many titles and some unique cosmetics. Titles including Defender, then Heroine, then Champion of the Ashen Wastes, the Agile, the Strong, the Mighty, Eyes Against the Enemy, Torchbearer. I feel like I need to go and sing at the pony with that one. And Super of Urgarth. So yeah, all of those, clearing out the deeds for the instance, for the Urgarth instance.
I wouldn't want
and
to
some
put
of
my eyes against one of those orcs and they're gross. I don't want my eyes anywhere near those. Okay, anyway.
There's kind of a story behind it. You have to experience it sometime. It's a thing.
I'm working on it.
Yeah, and some of the cosmetics that we're dropping were kind of standard, but there were a few things that I'm like, I don't think I have ever seen that anywhere else. So some of my alts have some interesting skins now for their weapons and such, and maybe geared for them to grow into.
Trident halberd.
Yeah, I mean, all kinds of interesting things. A couple of interesting lore master stats. I mean, of course, my lore master is like level 20 or 21 and does nothing but hang out in the Brig crafting hall and craft scrolls. She's like gilded, but anyway, I did some roving threat hunting with my kin, and this is kind of covering 2 weeks here. And then I spent a lot of time emptying mail. Speaking of alts, why do I have so many alts again? In ESO, the pair that I've dubbed the shiny duo, because we have a Dragon Knight and a Templar, so fire and light all over the place. They finished Glenumbra, and they have completed most of Western Stormhaven, and right now they're busy trying to get a dream shard back from a very bloodthirsty woman's fiance at Tura. So yeah, just hit Wayrest, and immediately the king sent us back out to do something else. But yeah, we've made it as far as Wayrest. So I'm still really enjoying the questing. I didn't put it in my notes, I guess I could drop it in for later. I did also end up in a couple of dungeons and got a couple of levels in like maybe half hour, 45 minutes time, because I chat a lot with Bel Realyn, who's Yiki's wife, and she had pulled me into the kin, and then Lunori's alt actually ended up in that kin too. So yeah, we ended up running dungeons the other night with the kin for a little bit, and that was a whole new experience. It was a little bit overwhelming. It's pretty high paced for me. I kind of like it better when I'm exploring and doing the story. But anyway, it was a lot of fun, and it was a great experience. Terry Adwin, what have you been up to in the game worlds?
Game worlds. Well, Gillibreth and Celeborn got themselves kicked out of Edoras this week. It's been a while since they've played together, because Celeborn's been doing a bunch of other stuff, enough stuff that he needed to put on a Tortoise Stone, so he didn't outlevel her too. I mean, he's already 7 levels over her, but we're doing content that they're way out leveled for anyway, so it's fine. And it's funny because I'm doing with Celebathian the thing that I did with Sans Winda when I started questing with Sans, is I'm making her read everything out loud, which, except unlike when I run with Pineleaf and Sans, and Pineleaf doesn't really like it when I backtalk the NPCs, because I interrupt him usually when that happens. We backtalk the NPCs all the time, especially because Celeborn's an elf and we're dealing with a bunch of Rohirrim. So some of the quest text is like, "Boy, I'm gonna slap you." there are a lot of those moments.
Especially since we're running through Edoras, through Edoras and all of Rohan. We're running around with a Rohirric guy and another elf, and so anytime it's like, "What do your elf eyes see?" It's like, "Boy, do you not see my ears? Why don't you ask me?"
And otherwise, it's been pretty light on the LOTRO front. Which is a shame, actually, because it's VIP weekend and I should actually log into the game and do something. Yeah. Except I don't actually want to play any of those alts because scrolls are so broken. So we played a Civ 6 with the new clans feature. So the barbarian thing is now, instead of just, you can turn this on and off, so it's an optional thing. Instead of having just your standard roving things of barbarians, which you clear out, they are clans. And if they hang out long enough, they actually eventually will turn into city-states. And so you can hamper this process by attacking them, and you can raid their little village. But you can leave it if you raid it for gold, and then you can leave it there, and later you can go back and raid it again. So it kind of keeps spawning units, but then you can go back and farm it for gold, basically. Or you can just disperse it to get rid of it. But you can also do things like you can bribe them to not attack your cities. You can hire units from them, which both of those will actually help them progress toward becoming a city-state. Or you can incite them to attack your enemies, which gives them a step backwards, but is fun to watch because we were doing that. Alexander of Macedon got on my bad side because I just didn't like where he put his city. So I said, okay, we need to kill him. So somebody who had more money than I did, because I was putting out a bunch of units, bribed the barbarians to start attacking him. So we'll see how that goes.
Wait a minute. Are you saying that you put out a hit on Alexander the Great?
Yeah.
Well, that was
Hey, look,
that was after they
I'm playing
accidentally put a hit
Trajan,
out on me
so no, that was an
because I was playing
accident. It didn't
Pericles.
actually go through. Yeah, so fun stuff.
Yeah, but they accidentally put a hit out on me with the barbarians at first. I think, or almost did, because I was playing Pericles,
did.
also of Greece, and so they were like, "Oh, hey, that's Alexander!" Click, and I was like,
Cinders forgot that Alexander's not actually Greece; it's Macedon, because Calabathian was Greece. Yeah, so apparently you can, even though you're in an alliance, you can still tell the barbarians to go after your buddies, which is, I don't know that I like that feature.
That's very Machiavellian.
Yeah.
keep your friends close and your enemies closer.
Right? Let's see. ESO, my original main, so my original Terry Edwin in ESO, who's level 41 still, has made it to Cold Harbor again, which I'm so glad to be back in Cold Harbor. Not. So she made it to the Hollow City because I'm thinking, like, okay, well, I'm almost done. I can almost get my soul back. No, not so fast. Only like 10 more steps. But maybe in a couple weeks I'll actually have my soul back. And then also in ESO, my original warden got bitten by a werewolf, Sans, and romped around and elsewhere biting more things. Basically, Sans was like, "Well, where haven't you been?" And I said, "Well, you know what? I've never been to Elsewhere. Let's go to Elsewhere." So we just went to Elsewhere, and we took the main quest, which you can't use any werewolf skills in town because it's illegal, but you can totally go out on the landscape and bite as much stuff as you want. So yeah, we had a lot of fun. We went through a delve basically and just kind of ate everything, which is really kind of gross to think about. But it is a lot of fun, especially when you have another werewolf to run with you.
I mean, especially something out of a delve. I mean,
they were humans in the delve, but
okay.
I mean, it's fine.
It's fine.
You are what you eat. Wait.
They were the bad guys, so that's what they get for taking the bad guys' money, I guess. And then I played a little bit of Star Wars. I know I said I wasn't going to make a new character, and I ended up making a new character. But it's because I've been talking to Cameron, and so listeners may remember that Cameron's been on the show a couple times. He's one of the people who got me into playing LOTRO. He also plays ESO and Star Wars, and so we'd been going back and forth about playing Star Wars, and I said, you know what, you should play one of the classes that you haven't really played before. And I tried really hard to talk him into playing an agent because I really think he would enjoy the agent story, but he refuses to play on the Empire side. So he made a Cathar Vanguard, and I made a new human gunslinger because most of my alts in Star Wars are boring humans. But honestly, the biggest laugh so far was on Ord Mantell when an NPC mansplained to us what a Cathar was, which was freaking hilarious because I'm standing next to this massive giant Cathar. Like, he took the biggest, tallest, bulkiest shape for his body type. And so he's towering over the NPC, and the NPC's sitting there talking about Cathar like we don't know what a Cathar is. I laughed so hard. It was great. Cathar, by the way, for people who don't play Star Wars, is a cat-type person. Which is actually not how the NPC explained it, come to think of it. It said something about them being fierce, vicious beasts, which just made me giggle all that much more because I've got the trooper Cathar standing next to me. And then, this is really long because I wasn't on last week. But I'm on my last one. I spent lots of time banging my head against the new DLC in Craft the World, which is Heart of Evil, which is basically dwarves versus elves. Evil elves. Not only are they evil, they employ gargoyles who will come over, so you have your own dwarves who you can assign tasks to, and then there's a bunch of NPC dwarves running around, and some of them are warriors and some of them are just random farm person folk up on the surface. And the gargoyles will fly out of the enemy fortress and swoop down and pick up these NPC dwarves and carry them off. And when you finally make it to the fortress on the other side, you discover that what they're doing with these dwarves is they're turning them into monsters. Like, they have this automated machine type process to dump it in a vat to turn it into a ghoul, and then it goes into a lake filled with piranha, and the piranha eats all the skin off and it becomes a skeleton. Then it goes into a little machine that gives it armor and weapons. Yeah, I watched this happen. I'll have to video clip it from in OSB or something, because it was actually. And then the beholder process is interesting too. Yeah, so yeah, they have beholders, and actually they updated the way the beholders look, so now they're really ugly. Like, they were kind of cartoony cute before, but they're not anymore. But it's funny because the little beholder machine, they come out kind of closer to the old appearance where they were kind of cartoony cute, and then they go through the process and they come out and they're really nasty looking. So I'm really close to actually taking out the elves. I just have to figure out where I'm supposed to go in the elf fortress, but I've explored about 75% of it now, which is hard because you get over there and you kill things, but then it respawns, or they have crystals from somewhere, and there's more evil elves that just come from nowhere. And they have male and female elves, by the way, and they're dressed differently. The women wear red and the guys wear black, and that's how you can tell them apart. And they are really vicious. But maybe by next week I'll have beaten the level and I can tell you all about how I kicked the Elf King's butt. So, Pineleaf, how was your week?
And I will begin with my honor warden, who reached Minas Tirith after taking the mithril tour of Osgiliath. Osgiliath has got to be the one place where I'm most likely to use mithril in order to get back to an NPC, because it's so annoying to get back to those culverts usually. And that thing is right smack, everything's in the smack nowhere. And whose idea was it that there would only be a campfire in that place rather than a milestone? Oh well. But I've managed to finish up Osgiliath and then head over to Minas Tirith, where now I'm running errands for the council there. And on Crick Hollow, my warden was defeating more harbingers as I slowly get up to finishing up that little quest. Then in tabletop games, I completed the Charterstone campaign that I started last week. Our top supporter for this month is LOTRObuild.com, and LOTRObuild.com is a collection of full LOTRO databases, including an items database, a relics database, and a titles database. You can also use it right from your Discord server with LOTRObuild bot. We currently have 16 supporters on Patreon. If you'd like to join this illustrious rate of players and help support LOTRO players, you can go to the donations page. We can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. Your money would be used for our podcast hosting, website hosting, and to pay for our live shows. We did not receive any emails this week. If you like, send us one. You can send it to podcast@loachplayers.com. You could also Twitter, Players Alliance @PlayersAlly, Loach Players @Loach Players, Erendis @Erendis, Pineleaf @Pineleaf Needles, Sanswinda @Sanswinda, Terry Edwin @Terry Edwin, Guarendis @Guarendis, Calabathian @Calabathian. The Players Alliance has 2 shows on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. We have DDO Players News, and on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have Loach Players News. You can join us for our shows at loachplayers.com/live. And that's all for tonight. And this is Pilot Needles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.